Hello! Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Jaycaw's 12-month gift subscription, courtesy of Crosmos, has entered month 2. I've never seen that before. Did we notice this when it happened? 12 months of a gifted subscription by Crosmos, I believe. What a gift. Sarah, thank you for the 51st. McGronit with 56. DB with 50. I missed some earlier as well. Thank you all for the subscriptions. I appreciate it. Heather with 54. It's your husband. That makes sense. Just changing up the background. I may move rooms. I'm not sure. Just changing things up. That's the plan. This is not the final form. Don't worry. This is intermediate right now. I know it's not great right now. This is what I do the day. I know. So so here's what happened. I've been recording Tastemakers until pretty much just now. I know what happened with the veto. I've not had a chance to see much of the feeds since they came back. And then thank you, the 14 in a row. For what it's worth, also, like, I could make this not as bad. For instance, if I did this. Just play around with the lights a little bit. Do something like this. Do something like this. Maybe a little more. See, that's better, right? But I don't like it as much for me. I prefer the sunlight and no light in my face. Don't worry, we'll figure it out. All right, how are we doing? Are people funneling in here? This is not lighting. Actually, like, this is literally just the window. I'm not intentionally ignoring. So I will say this, and it's the irony of saying this. If I don't answer a question that's asked, I'm usually not, like, ignoring you, I promise. It's usually that I've probably answered that question a bunch already. And so if I answer it every time it's asked, then I'm just, like, saying the same thing like a billion times, and that's probably going to be annoying to people who watch the VOD or, like, are just have been watching. So I will occasionally answer the question once in a while if I feel like it's been a little while since I've answered it. In terms of the anonymous, no, No, and no worries. It is not on you. Feel free to ask the question. I'm never gonna be like, don't ask that question. Yeah, wearing white probably doesn't help. But the Anonymous, I'm not gonna watch it until it finishes. I've heard the cliffhangers are bad, and so I'll give it a shot once all the episodes are out. Is my kind of tactic right now. In terms of jet lag, the current plan is we are at least going to do a season recap. And then hopefully do another like deep dive with maybe, if we can get another interview, that'd be cool. It's been tough to coordinate. Some of the weekly coverage at the moment. I've really enjoyed it so far, though. 2 great episodes. Yeah, Sasha was out. So, yeah. Do not. I don't intend to leave jet lag hanging, but we'll get there. Okay, so Judah, thank you for gifting 2 subs. So here's what happened. Last night, I talked about this on the update this morning. There was a lot of discussion about the veto. Whether Leah wanted to use it or not. It seemed like she was leaning toward wanting to use it. It felt like Quinn may have talked her out of it. Hold on. Joseph and Angela. The tables have turned and Angela is being gracious in victory. I can't believe this actually happened. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna take the advice I gave you. Now, ironically, this wasn't the best outcome. Okay, well, I gotta reset. The irony is not lost on me. Okay, so here's what happened. So last night, like I said this morning, it felt like Quinn had talked Leah not all the way down, but what I said was that she was leaning toward using it, and it felt like Quinn talked her back to like neutral, but she was not willing to commit to not using it. This morning, it felt like she had already started leaning back in the direction of using it. Peace, thank you for the 30th. And then in addition to that, the feeds went down for a while. So I've already seen some speculation because something that I didn't bring up last night is that Leah mentioned to Quinn that she felt like the DR was trying to convince her to use it. And Quinn tried to rebut that by saying, like, they don't have your best interests in mind. Feeds being down for so long prior to the veto ceremony feels like they have something to hide. That said, I've talked about this before. The diary room, you know, there's a couple of things at play here. One is that Leah could be saying that because she wants to use it, and she's using production as a strategy. By saying and of course they're going to shut it down, but it's like lawyer shows where they're like, they say a thing and they're like, hey, objection, and they're like, sustained, stop doing that, but it's already said. You know what I mean? So there's that element to it. You could also misinterpret what the DR is trying to get you to do. If you feel like you want to do something and the DR is asking you questions about it, you could feel like that is reinforcement that like they want me to do this. So there's a lot of reasons why somebody might think that the DR is trying to push them into a certain direction. They can't push too hard. They can't be like, listen, we will give you 5 more diary rooms this week if you use the veto. That doesn't happen. That they would get, after 25 years, they would get caught so fast. So that doesn't mean that the people in the diary room don't have their own preferences that can sometimes be picked up by the players, or read into, or things like that. So it is not a perfect system. The sketchy part, obviously, is the feeds being down. So that's where you start to go, well. However, the point of all of this is that when the feeds came back, veto ceremony had happened. Leah used the veto on Angela. Angela is off the block. And that by itself is like, okay, wow, she ended up going through with it. That's big. The next part, though, Quinn has to name a replacement. And Quinn puts up Joseph in Angela's place. With the intention, let me tell you, the intention of Joseph being a pawn. He really spent this whole week living in this house and thought, you know who'd be a good pawn? Joseph. Sure, welcome to the Robot Army, and big thank you for the 2nd month. So Quinn, he's having conversations about like, all right, guys, so which one of Rubino or Chemo should go home? And in the meantime, Chelsea's talking to T-Core about like, so I can't believe we got Joseph on the block. Bye-bye. Now listen, this is not a guarantee by any means. There's definitely going to be some back and forth. The idea that you could take out a number from T-Core, take out a number from the trio, that is appealing. But Joseph has pissed off a lot of people, and most notably Chelsea. Um, so it is very possible, that Joseph goes. It is also very possible that Chemo or Rubina goes. So Chelsea. So and now listen, I said this already. I have not seen some of these meetings. I did see that Chelsea talked to T-Core. I did also see. Oh, Jackie. Hold on, Jackie with 10 gifted subs. 10! 10! 10! Hey, 10. Make sure you thank Jackie for that generosity. So I've also seen that Chelsea had the conversation with MJ and Cam, where they were again sort of like seemingly leaning in the direction of Chemo or Rubina. But so I didn't watch that conversation. I don't know how it felt, but my assumption is, without having seen it, that this could go back and forth. Like, I don't think there's like, and again, I could be wrong. I don't know that there's like a super strong preference here. There's a lot of reason to potentially take out Joseph. There's a lot of reason to take out one of the trio. If you do take out one of the trio, you're pissing off the other two. You're ruining those relationships potentially. If you take out Joseph, you're removing him from the jury. And if you're somebody like MJ, it's valuable to not have Joseph on the jury, considering he doesn't respect your game. But it's also valuable to you to take out a number from the trio. There's a lot of different potential arguments. And we know this house, they tend to go around in circles. So my initial instinct here is I think any one of the three could go. Chemo looking like the most likely right now, followed potentially by Joseph, followed by Rubina, but really it could be really anyone, I think. It could also be a situation where it's like if Chemo wins AI and it's Joseph versus Rubina, Joseph goes because they want to maybe work on this women's thing. But if it's Joseph versus Chemo, then Chemo goes because they want to take out a number from the trio. You know, like there's all kinds of different possibilities here. And really, like, the bottom line, I think, is this feels so botched by Quinn. If Joseph leaves on Quinn's HOH, what a disaster reign. I mean, Joseph is no valuable ally of Quinn's by any means. But like, for him to have completely burned every one of T-Core, Rubina, and Chemo, only to lose one of his few actual allies, Joseph. I say that. That's not true. Quinn has more allies than Joseph, but like, Joseph doesn't really have anybody but basically Quinn at this point. Joseph is valuable to Quinn in a small way, whereas there are a lot of active detriments to Quinn's game that he should be taking out. But he went after Angela, failed, pissed off the trio, and if none of them go home, that's also bad. And then losing Joseph, an actual ally, would be just atrocious. So I think we need to talk about, and we've certainly talked about it already, but like, what in the world is Quinn doing with Leah? Because you know that Leah used this veto because of this.
Thoughts?
You're sick nasty. You're incredible. You looked really cool in yellow. You reminded me of the Minions. I like your smile. You treat people with kindness. You're really funny. You're really funny. You're really good at cooking. Your nails are good. Still French. There's a lot. It's just like, the word sensational just comes to mind when I think about you.
You're so sweet.
Because he can push, he can argue, he can tell her, don't do this, all he wants. But when you're on the receiving end of that, you know that you can do whatever you want to this man. And he'll get over it. He'll tell you you're sick nasty. Tyler, thank you for the 6th month. I mean, he really played himself. He really did. Considering how close this seemed to be, we might learn that it wasn't close, that she was always going to use it. That is certainly possible. But if this was as close as she made it out to be, I think the difference absolutely could have been, well, if it pisses off Quinn, it might not be worth doing it. But if I know that I have Quinn no matter what I do to the guy, why not? And that was exactly, when I went through the reasoning, that's exactly what I said. I said this was a no-brainer decision from Leah because the only person that's really going to be upset with her is Quinn, who's not really going to be upset with her. So he really only has himself to blame. I love this play from Leah. Now, I will say, I don't think this was the ideal scenario necessarily for Leah. It would have been better for both her and Quinn, in my opinion, if T-Core had gone on the block. Because it would not be great for Leah if Joseph left. It would be bad for Quinn. I also do think it would be bad for Leah. If she ends up losing Joseph instead of losing Angela, in some ways, I think Joseph might have been more valuable to her than Angela. In maybe a couple of ways. And so that it could end up being a net loss. But I think the move was correct. It's just like, the replacement nominee could have been better for her. And that wasn't her call. But it's definitely an unfortunate result of what I thought was a pretty decent move. Kelly, thank you for the 25th. And quite frankly, I think that like, if she had been more firm about using it, she probably has a bit more influence over who goes up as the replacement. I think leaving it to the last minute seemingly put Quinn in a spot where he had to snap, call, make a decision, and had to go with Joseph because Joseph was just the easiest, lowest hanging fruit. There was some momentum to get T-Core on the block. Like, there were a couple of people that were pushing in that direction. Kala, thank you for the 36th. And I think that if this had been planned ahead of time, you might have been able to get that to happen. Now, it's not a mistake unless Joseph leaves. So I'm not going to like push it too hard, but because this could still work out really well. If Chemo leaves, or even Rubina, and Leah's able to save both Angela and Joseph, and it's looking like that might happen, then it's just straight up a good move. It just would have been better. It would have been easier. It would have been cleaner if she could have avoided Joseph going up. But either way, I mean, I've been impressed by Leah this week, especially. I think last week was good. I think this week was better. I think that she has been like improving. Yeah, I think last week I had her at a 5 with the caveat of like if Tucker leaves, that's huge for her game. She gets a boost. So last week, knowing Tucker was leaving, that means she's even higher. And then this week, she's doing well. Now, she does have a worst case scenario, which is Joseph leaving this week. But like, she's put herself in a good spot, and she's been and I think especially winning this power, using it. There's so much reward to wielding power in the game. The amount of respect that Leah is going to like accumulate just exponentially went up. I think she was already getting some extra respect from her positioning in the game. The fact that she won a veto, the fact that she used it to make a mark on the game. I think this puts her in real contention to win if she makes it to the end. So interesting stuff. I think that the rise of Leah and MJ is a very interesting development in the game, because it really goes to show how the game can function on a couple of different levels. Like, you left these two alone for too long. They've learned the game a little better. They've honed their skills. The rest of the house is eating themselves up. And now all of a sudden, you have these two competitive, smart enough players who are making their own mark. Same with Chelsea. You thought she was down and out, but the same ability that got her in the position she was in the first place is now allowing her to eat up some ground. In the meantime, you have a player like Joseph who has just tanked. Yeah, I say smart enough because like I'm remembering last week when all of the various theories being thrown around. But again, I think that's largely because of the lack of information, that they just never had the information. They've learned from a lot of defeats. They've gathered accurate information, and now they're actually playing in a way that it's working for them. And I think it goes to show also like how the game can really make you look stupid. Because when you don't have accurate information and people are playing a game that excludes you from the power structure, you just look stupid all the time. And then once the power structure crumbles, you get accurate information, all of a sudden, you're able to like show what you've actually got. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, I've been saying this for weeks about Joseph, that like that his antics are going to catch up to him. And listen, there were people. There were people. I know who you are. I saw you in the Discord. There were people. Oh, Taryn hates Joseph. Why is he so down on Joseph? Joseph is playing a great game. Where are we now? Huh? Where are we now? Um, can we also talk about? Because I was ready for this. After the veto comp. Hold on. Rubina's talking to. Okay, this is fine. After the veto competition, feeds come back. Joseph says to the cameras, I could have won that probably. I got to the end of that comp. I could have probably won that one. But I'm so proud of Leah. I'm so happy she won. And listen, I want to make this clear. I don't hate Joseph. I think Joseph is a funny guy. I kind of like Joseph. He, as he said, he has a bit of a mean streak sometimes. I think he blabs a bit much in this house. But here's the thing. He doesn't listen to me. He listens to me, but he does not listen to me because he actively said, Terrence says don't throw comps. Nah, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I am of the Dr. Will school. I throw comps. Where are we now, Joseph? Where are we now? Oh boy. Yeah, see if he throws AI. This would have been a great veto for him to win. If it's true that he could have won this and he actively chose not to, would have been a great veto to win. Again, the house is repositioning. He's in a little bit of trouble. Win this veto, guarantee your safety this week, prove that you have value to an alliance. I mean, same is true of the AI arena. I mean, right now, it's going to be Chemo, Rubina, Joseph in the AI arena. Rubina has won no competitions. Joseph has won no competitions. Chemo has won an AI arena before. So Chemo kind of has the best track record, but It's a, he beat two people. Rubina did come very close to winning against Cedric and MJ. So, like, I don't know that there's really much. I think any one of them could easily win. Clyde, thank you for the 6 months in advance. I appreciate that confidence. If Chemo wins AI Arena, I think that is the most interesting result. A Chemo AI Arena win pitting Rubina against Joseph. I think that's probably the closest vote as of right now. That's the Joseph confidence, yeah. Melody, thank you for the 14th. So obviously, you have T-Core and Rubina voting to keep, or sorry, T-Core and Chemo voting to keep Rubina. You likely have Angela keeping Rubina. I think Rubina stays. I mean, ultimately, it depends. It depends on like where Chelsea falls. I think Chelsea decides. Chelsea decides, but I think Quinn has a big say. There's 10 people in the game. You need 4 to evict. I guess Leah and Angela combined with T-Core and Chemo could swing a vote without Chelsea. That is possible. That's actually interesting. If Leah decides, but Leah has generally wanted Chemo or Rubina out, and she has no reason to want Joseph out. I don't know if Leah. So Leah has very, very much distanced herself from Joseph for good reason this week. But that doesn't mean that Joseph is not good for her game. And this is where like I've had issues with her strategy in the past is that she's too willing to throw away pieces that she owns. So I don't think that Leah should get rid of Joseph. I don't think she should throw that piece away. I think that Joseph will be a locked in vote for her in the jury. Joseph will throw his game away for her. Like there's a lot of value to Joseph. Not as much value as like a person that's going to be winning a lot of comps, but there's still value to Joseph for Leah, for sure. And she just doesn't have the relationship with, I mean, she doesn't currently have the relationship with Chemo, Rubina, T-Core that she does with Joseph. We're back. Let me hold on. Rubina and T-Core. Of course, they're whispering. Oh boy, that was a shift. It sounds like T-Core is saying she thinks she has Angela as a vote to keep T-Core, or as a vote to keep Chemo or Rubina. Or maybe she's talking about Chelsea. Sorry, she might have been talking about Chelsea. Because she did have that conversation with Chelsea, so it makes sense she's talking about Chelsea. Yeah. I mean, this is the thing for Chelsea. It actually is kind of a tricky spot. I think probably the ideal scenario for Chelsea is if Joseph wins the AI arena. She's forced to vote out Chemo. She locks in with Rubina and T-Core. If she's forced to vote out Chemo or Rubina over Joseph, that could be the. I mean, I say that it could be the thing that loses T-Core, but like, would she really lose T-Core? I mean, we're playing a season where like people can just do whatever they want and never face repercussions for it. There's a chance that Chelsea could vote out Chemo and be totally fine with T-Core. She could just say, "Oh, the votes weren't there. Sorry." Generally, it's better, but it's better for Chelsea for one of the trio to go, but only really in the sense that like she's then able to pick up the other two. It kind of ruins it if she's forced to burn those bridges. And I can't see them being willing to let her sympathy vote because that's 3 of 7 votes, and all it would take is like an Angela flip or something weird to happen. And it's just so transparent. You do also have to worry a little bit about Joseph being activated by being nominated, and like I know people are like, oh, he probably is just losing comps, but like Joseph, who's now trying to win comps, if he does pick up an HOH win next week, you have been the most vocal about him, and that could be very bad for you if he ends up, if especially if he still needs 3 noms, and even if he doesn't, like it'd be very bad if he ends up nominating Chelsea. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. It's like it's kind of Chelsea's call, but if I'm Chelsea, I don't really have a reason to be pushing super hard in any direction right now. There are pros and cons to both results, and it probably will just happen. It will just depend on AI Arena. Because like the pro of not taking out one of the trio is that they remain a target next week. Joseph is a target next week, sure. So is the trio. You take out one of the trio, they're not quite as targetable in the future. You keep the trio in, they think you are their closest ally. They take shots at Quinn, Joseph. That's great for you. They remain a target for MJ, Leah, Cam. There can be a lot of value in keeping a trio around. It's the Vanessa gambit, where she kept the Ostwins around for way longer than the audience thought that that she should. A lot of fans were trashing Vanessa for keeping the Oz twins around as long as she did. But it worked because I mean, Vanessa played on positioning, and so she needed a distraction like the Oz twins to keep people away from targeting her. It was like, do you target Vanessa, the strategic mastermind, or do you target this group of 3 people? Trambles, thank you for the subscription. Welcome to the Robot Army. The equation is a little different with a 7-person jury. That trio controls a lot of votes, but those are 3 votes that I think all favor you. For what it's worth, if you're Chelsea. And in addition to that, none of them are super physical. Duchess, thank you for the 20th. Like, assuming a typical endgame comp structure, you're setting up an endgame where you are playing the middle between a trio over there and some comp threats over here. And if the trio takes out one of the comp threats, great. And if the comp threats take out the trio, great. I don't know. I'm kind of talking myself into it. I feel like there's a good path there. Joseph has never been very pro Chelsea. Why are you keeping him around? Joseph has also said he doesn't think that Chelsea should win in the end. He's not somebody she should want on the jury. I'm kind of talking myself into it. You need to, okay, here's the thing though. You need to worry about Quinn's reaction. If you take a shot at Joseph, can you do so in a way that doesn't lose you Quinn and Leah? Because that would be bad. Leah might be easier. Quinn might be tough. Does Quinn matter? No. And I wouldn't not do the move for Quinn's sake. But her game is a lot better if she has Quinn on board than if she doesn't. So it's not a matter of like, should I not make the move? It's more so, how can I make the move while mitigating that loss as much as possible? It's Monty. Thank you for the 4th. And I think it's just a matter of, it's not a you move, it's a house move. I think that's it. I think you talk Cam and MJ into it. You let them talk Leah into it. As a group, you all go to Quinn and you say, Quinn, we just think that Joseph needs to go. Quinn says, I don't think that's a good move, but I can't really defend him. And Quinn tries to talk you out of it. But you say, sorry, Joseph just sucks too much. He's got to go. Joseph's talking to Leah. Hold on. Leah's telling Joseph that this was not what she intended. She didn't want him to go on the block. She made the decision last minute. I will say I don't like that she's spreading around this. Well, I want at least one vote in the jury. That's why I wanted Angela there. T-Core's outfit, her outfits are normally great. I really like it today. Crochet. So Leah right now is playing like she's wrapped up in a blanket. She's kind of like laying down. She looks a little upset and she's kind of like playing like I just wanted to make a move for me and now this happened and I'm sorry, Joseph. I'm in no way against you. I think there's a good chance it works. I say that, and Joseph's response immediately was, well, I just want you to know that I love you, and nothing you could do in this stupid game would ever change the way I feel about you. So, check that off. Yes, yep, it's going to work. Yep, it works. She's tearing up. This is not what I wanted at all. I appreciate that she doesn't just take the win. She like keeps making sure. You know what I mean? I mean, the hold she has on Joseph. This is why I feel like losing Joseph is bad for Leah. The hold she has on this man. Yeah, which is also a good reason for Joseph to go. Yeah, I don't disagree. If you're Chelsea. That's what I'm saying, Ian. I don't think people see the hold Leah has over Joseph yet. I mean, Quinn knows that Joseph has a crush. He thinks it's cute. I don't think even Quinn realizes how much Joseph is under the same spell he is. That's true. Angela sees it. No, I mean, again, I don't think to the extent that it exists, but What I'm enjoying about Leah right now is that like Leah and Tucker were both in similar positions where they both had like a bunch of people thirsting after them. And it was frustrating that they had so much power and that it felt like they were not using it. They were wasting a lot of that power. They were like just blowing it on random things and putting themselves in positions they didn't need to be in. Tucker's now gone. But what has been such a relief to me about Leah is that she's like finally seemed to figure out how to wield that power for her game. An anonymous gifter gifting a sub. Thank you, Anonymous. It's challengers if neither of them ended up with Zendaya. Oh, all right. Well, I think that's about where we're at for now. I think things to look out for moving forward this week. Um, are how Joseph handles this. We've never really seen Joseph on the back foot. Usually, what happens is a person who is knowledgeable about the game does better when they're on the outs than when they're in power. Or, sorry, a person that is very bad with power but knowledgeable about the game can oftentimes, I will say, find some footing when their back is against the wall and they're on the outs because they can't indulge their bad instincts as much, and they have to rely more on their wits. So it'll be interesting to see if Joseph has that in him, or if it gets worse. It'll be interesting to see where Chelsea, MJ, and Cam decide to go with this vote. How Quinn handles everything, and where the trio Tikor, Chemo, and Rubina take this campaign. I think this week has turned into something that is pretty interesting. So, that's where we are. Fun stuff. Boring season where? Where's that? Do I have that ready to go?
Boring season where?
I do. Should use it more. All right. That's what I've got for now for this impromptu stream today. Hopefully you had some fun. Hopefully we continue to have some fun this week. Chainsaw, thank you for the 29th. And current plan. I'll be back tomorrow for the update, the roundtable, and then it just keeps going after that. Wednesday episode, Thursday episode, Friday stuff. All right. See you guys later.